Why your team isn't accountable and it's not what you think. If you're tired of training, checklists, time tracking software, bonus structures and weekly meetings just to keep your team accountable, and none of that is working, I've got news for you. You're probably solving the wrong problem. I'm Rory Prendergast and I have spent 20 years making this exact same mistake. And I can tell you the uncomfortable truth. Your team isn't unaccountable because they're lazy. They're not accountable because you've accidentally designed a system that rewards dependency. Here's what nobody tells you. Real accountability isn't about monitoring what people do. You'd need another half employee for every employee you have to do that, if that was the case. It's about creating clarity around what success actually looks like. So now, in the next 8 minutes or so, I'm going to show you why everything you've tried has failed and the simple accountability system that actually works. So let me paint you a picture. You implement a new system, let's say a daily check-in. You do it for 2 weeks, everybody checks in religiously, but then you notice that people are doing it, but they're not actually being more productive. So you add weekly meetings. Now you're spending hours in meetings talking about what people should be doing instead of actually doing it. So I had a client, Mark, who ran a logistics company. He tried everything, performance bonuses, daily huddles, project management software, even hired a consultant to design an accountability system, but his team was still missing deadlines and just making excuses for it. So Mark said to me, Rory, I don't understand. I've given them everything, every tool, every incentive, every support system. Why don't they just take ownership? But when I looked at Mark's business, I saw that the real problem immediately was his team didn't know what winning actually looked like. Therefore, they were working hard, but not working towards anything specific, which meant that Mark was measuring effort instead of outcomes. So traditional accountability systems fail because they focused on the wrong thing. So problem one, they measure activity, not results. So time tracking tells you somebody was at their desk for 8 hours, but it doesn't actually tell you if those 8 hours actually moved the business forward. Problem two, they create fear, not ownership. So when accountability is based on punishment for failure, people focus on not getting in trouble instead of achieving success. But that creates defensive behavior, not proactive behavior. And problem number three, they're reactive, not preventative. So weekly meetings to discuss what went wrong last week don't prevent problems from occurring next week. They just document them after it's been too late to fix them. So therefore, Mark's team was spending more time explaining what didn't work than actually making things work. So here's what actually works. And it comes from my Systems for Scaling program. I call it the ownership loop. And it has three components. So component one, clear winning definitions. For every role, define what winning looks like with one simple metric, but not activity metrics, outcome metrics. So Mark's customer service team used to be measured on the number of calls answered, but when we changed that to the percentage of issues resolved in first contact, suddenly they started focusing on solving problems instead of answering the phones. Component number two, daily ownership check-in. So instead of weekly meetings about what went wrong, implement a 10-minute daily check-in about what's going right and what support is needed that's way more positive. But the key here is, it's not status reports back to you, it's commitment sessions where team members state what they're going to achieve and how they're going to achieve it and when they're going to achieve it by. So component three is leading indicators, not lagging results. Instead of measuring what happened last week, measure what predicts next week's success. So Mark's delivery team used to report on packages delivered late. But when we switched that to packages delivered before 8 a.m., they started preventing late deliveries instead of just reporting on them. Here's what happened when Mark implemented the ownership loop. Week one, his team was a little confused, and they're saying to him, you mean we don't have to explain why things went wrong? And then moved to week four, they started proactively solving the problems before they came issues. Week 12, Mark's daily check-ins dropped back to 5 minutes because his team was self-managing. But the real breakthrough came when one of his drivers said, I actually look forward to our check-ins now because I get to share what I've accomplished instead of making excuses for what I didn't do. So 6 months later, Mark told me the team doesn't really need him anymore to hold them accountable. They hold themselves accountable. But the proof was in the numbers. On-time delivery just shot through the roof. So therefore, Mark had finally created what every business owner wants, a team that owns their own results instead of making excuses for them. So if you're tired of chasing your team for accountability and you're ready to build a culture of ownership, that's exactly what we focus on in my Systems for Scaling program. I work one-on-one with business owners who have 5 to 50 employees to implement the 3 components of the ownership loop: clear winning definitions, daily ownership, check-ins, and leading indicator tracking. So this isn't about micromanaging your team. It's about creating clarity so that they can manage themselves, and it's for business owners who are ready to stop being the accountability police. So if that sounds like you, then check the link in the description. But if you want to start this process now, try this clear winning exercise. Pick one person on your team and define what winning looks like for them in one simple measurement, but make sure it's something that they can control, not just something they can influence. And remember, accountability isn't about catching people doing things wrong. It's about making it clear what doing things right actually looks like. So stop chasing accountability and start creating ownership. Your team is waiting for clarity, not more monitoring. If this was of interest to you and you want to learn more, click the subscribe button.